Today we have Mr. Dakota Bailey and myself, Cody Myers, and yeah.
Switching up the host.
I just got a few questions for Dakota today. We're gonna have a conversation, and let's get it going.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna start way back when you were younger. So when and why did you move to Kendallville, Indiana?
Kendallville, Indiana. So I was born in Kendallville, Indiana, actually. I don't know if you knew that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I was born in the hospital, and I think it was right next to Bixler at that time. There was a hospital right next to Bixler Lake, and so that's where I was born. So I grew up there for a couple years. Then we went to South Milford, I believe. Lived there for a little bit, and then went back to Kendallville. Actually lived where Logan Messer used to live. I don't know if you remember that triplex right there. So right across the street from the place that I met you, the funeral home, the gas station's right there. There's that house right there that's on the corner that shares the parking lot with it. That's like a triplex.
Yeah, right by Ramsey's.
Yep.
Okay.
I used to live there.
Really?
Yeah, so that's where I lived for a while.
Okay.
And so I lived there until I was like 6. And then, anyway, moved around a lot from, foster care, from like moving back and forth with my mom. She lived in Angola. Then we moved to Columbia City with my stepdad. Long story short is then eventually they moved down to Kentucky and I was with them, me and my 2 sisters and, my stepdad and my mom. We all went down to Kentucky. I did not like Kentucky. Got in some disagreements with my mom and stepdad. And I was like, all right, dude, let me go back to Indiana. So called my dad and ended up living with him. So moved in to Kendallville when I was 14 to move in with my dad. And yeah, it was like 2 weeks left of 8th grade. I remember that.
And that's when you moved back?
Yep.
When you were in
14.
8th grade?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Dang. I
Crazy.
guess I didn't know the whole story, I guess. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up in Kendallville though.
Nice. So when you moved to Kentucky, was your mom and dad together at that time?
No. My mom and dad have been not together since, I was probably like 5 or 6. So
Okay, for a sort of long time.
yeah, it's been a while. Been a little bit.
Gotcha.
Yep, so I moved into Kendallville with my dad. So that's when I moved back to Kendallville, when I lived with my dad.
Okay.
So just me and my dad living in a house. I can't remember if we had a girlfriend then or not. But I think it was just me and him.
Yeah. Same house that I know of?
Riley Street.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the train tracks?
Yep.
I remember that house.
Yep.
Drumming.
Oh yeah,
All the
drumming
time.
on the front porch, dude. I was just talking to my dad about that. He said he could hear it all the way from my grandpa's house, which is like a block and a half away on Sargent Street. He said he could hear me all the way over there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't get yelled at by more people actually, because I drummed a lot.
Did like the cops ever come or anything?
I feel like I remember them doing that, and then just like telling me I had to keep it down or something, and I was like, all right,
You're just like, okay.
and then just kept going.
Yeah, just keep doing it.
Yeah, like what do you do?
Yeah.
It's like drums are loud.
Yeah. That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, so how was the transition like with like all the moving around in Kendallville, meeting new friends and like all that?
It's so funny because I don't remember having a lot of emotion around it. It's very
Yeah.
odd because like to my sisters and stuff, I talk to them now, and they apparently it was a pretty emotional experience for them, and like felt like I left them, abandoned them. I just remember like I don't know. It's like I almost didn't feel a lot of emotion. I was just like going with the flow and like whatever really needed to happen. I just don't remember feeling a lot.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, I don't like it here, so let me go do something that I like more, and that was it. I don't know. I also remember part of the reason I didn't like Kentucky was because they were teaching stuff about the state, and I didn't know this stuff about the state. They're like, oh, what's the state capital? What's this stuff? Like, everybody knew it as if it's, like, common knowledge, and so then it made me feel like I wasn't as smart, and so, yeah, I thought a lot about that, actually, because now I'm dating Nicole, who's from Puerto Rico, and, like, she didn't even know the language, and so I can't even imagine how she felt. And so I've thought a lot about that. Of like, man, I felt not very smart because I didn't know a little bit about the state. Imagine people coming from other countries where they don't even know the language. I'm like, dude, that's crazy.
So she was born and raised there and didn't know the language?
She didn't know English.
English, okay.
Yeah, and so she came
Yeah.
here when she was 15 or 16.
Dang.
And so then I'm just like, dang, like I went to another state when I'm 14 and I felt like they were treating me like I was like kind of dumb. They didn't treat me like that. It was more of just like I felt like they knew a lot more than I did.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of, people come all the time to America. Imagine how they feel.
Yeah,
Like,
I can't even imagine now.
It's like us going over there and we're like, I have no clue
Yeah. How to
what
even
you're
talk to
saying.
you. Yeah, how to even talk. That
Yeah.
would be difficult. But yeah, that was a lot of the reason why I didn't like to live in Kentucky either. And why I was like, man, I really want to live with my dad and go back to Indiana. And all my family was around here. So like it just felt weird like living down there. So I lived down in Kentucky for probably like 6 months.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. Indiana's familiar.
Yep. I like Indiana. I like having the people I know and stuff like that too. And I told Nicole actually, as of right now, I'll always have like my base in Indiana, at least my house, and not to say I won't move around a lot and like live places for a year or two, but as of right now, where I'm at with my life, I see myself always being coming back here for a while.
Yeah. It's home.
Yep.
Did you feel like you had like a, because I know like people have their like judgments and stuff. Did you feel like you had like a reputation like in Kendallville? Because there's a lot of people that were like really close to you, and then there's some people that were just like Kayla even said, I didn't like you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know why,
I
but
mean, I still feel like it's the same thing now. And so that's the interesting thing is I think that a lot of people, I think I'm very highly misunderstood as an uncaring uh, person because I think it comes from my focus. I'm just so focused on something, and that for a lot of people that comes across as rude. Like I am uncaring, but it's more of like a focus than it is uncaring. I still care about people, but it's like I'm not going to allow the emotions to stop me from where I'm going,
yeah,
which is a difficult thing, I think, for most people to understand or comprehend. And I felt that way when I was younger, too, where a lot of people just didn't really know that I was actually a caring person. But I think that I was a little bit meaner back then, too,
yeah,
and more abrasive and very like, if you weren't with me, I was against you. And as of now, I'm more like, okay, like I'm just not gonna be around people who aren't with me.
yeah,
As opposed to like back then I saw them almost as my enemy. And now I'm just like I don't see really them as my enemy per se. It's more of just like, well, they either don't know me or they're like they don't vibe with that energy, which is okay too, because I don't want to be around people like that. So
yeah,
it's not really as opposed to like before is almost like I saw them as like again an enemy, and then now I just see it as different. Like we're
yeah,
just different, and that's okay. And if they don't like what the way that I'm different, that's okay too. I'm not like mad at them for it.
yeah,
And so yeah, I think that my reputation was just people saw me as a bad kid, and I got in a lot of trouble, which is funny because I don't feel like I did that much bad stuff if the people who really knew me, but that was the perception of me because of the way that I looked and because of the way that I talked and because of the way that like my persona was and the way that I carried myself. People thought that I was different than what I actually was, which was kind of interesting.
yeah. That's very true. Because I feel like I was more of like the one getting in trouble, and you just seemed like to somebody that you would look like the person that would do something or get into trouble with like the cops and stuff, but you weren't really, right? I mean,
Not much. I mean, I got speeding tickets. I was hanging out with girls late at night, but I wasn't drinking. I wasn't smoking. I wasn't like doing drugs. I mean, yeah, the only thing I liked to do was hang out with girls. That was all I did. Like that's
yeah,
all I wanted to do. Is like, oh, let's go freaking go hang out with girls. Like I'd go to parties and stuff, but I didn't party. And I just like I always
yeah,
just wanted to hang out with girls.
yeah. You weren't like drinking or smoking or anything. You
Yeah.
were just hanging out with girls.
Yep, that's all I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to do.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like I think you mentioned it before. Like I was like just like the quiet one, but always secretly getting in trouble. But like just kind of like whatever you guys were doing, whatever we were all doing, I was just like there for it.
Yep.
I don't know. I forgot how you explained it, but
I don't remember
yeah,
either. I remember it's funny because I feel like it was just the other day, but I don't remember it either.
yeah, that's how I feel too. But it's actually probably been a few months, honestly.
Oh, really?
It probably has been. Time's flying. It's November now, so
That's crazy.
yeah,
I thought, yeah. I always think we're going to be a lot further than we are in the business and like, the social media and everything. And then like we're not further. Well, we are further, but it doesn't feel like we are sometimes. And then when you look up, you're like, oh my gosh, we're doing like 40 deals a month now. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, that's freaking crazy. but it feels the same. It's just we've now stretched the capacity of what we're doing. So now we're putting out more content. We're doing more videos. Like the editing is getting better. It's just like we're so focused on the next one that it doesn't feel like it's getting bigger, better, or anything like that. But it actually is.
Yeah.
It's just like, dang. So it's just so hard. So anyway.
Yeah, and people are reaching out to you to pay you to buy the scripts and for coaching and all that.
Yep.
Deals.
Yep.
So
it's crazy.
We know that it's working a little bit.
At least. It was just like we got a proof of concept. We know that. But yeah, it's been interesting to see how fast everything keeps moving.
Yeah. So how long has it been since you and Nicole have been dating? A few months?
That's a good question. What's the date?
November 4th?
November 4th? Oh my gosh. So it's been, that's so weird, dude. It's only been like 2 months. And that's weird for the amount of connection I feel with her. So we matched on Hinge on 9/2.
9/2?
Yeah, so September 2nd. The first time we met in person was on 9/7.
Sorry, buddy.
No worries.
9/7.
9/7, yeah. So September 7th, we met in person, and then that was when I was like, all right, dude, this is...
Dude, it's crazy. I feel like we were just going on walks, like, all the time, and you're like, yeah, I'm dating, and then, you know, you
didn't go
like,
well.
Yeah, it didn't go well, and then now it's been more than, 2 months, which is crazy.
Yeah, 2 months, and it's like, dude, the amount of relationship that we've now experienced in 2 months is insane.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned a lot about her. I mean, we've had some great fights. We've adventured. We went out to California.
You went to California? She went with you?
Yeah. She was out in LA. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. So it's just crazy to think about the amount of relationship that we've actually had in just 2 months is crazy. And the connection and stuff. It's crazy, dude. It's good.
Yeah. All the experiences already. I can hear, I've heard you've had some nice, healthy communications with her and stuff already, so that's cool.
It's been really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see. She's a sweet person. It's good because she's very assertive, like me. She's a lot like me in a lot of ways, which is good.
Yeah.
And it's difficult, but I think it's good. Like, we have an intensity that I think would scare a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so, but that intensity, in my opinion, is like passion.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you're that passionate, like, dude, sparks are going to be created. But also, I believe that, like, with that, like, God can use people like that to move mountains. Because, like, that's the kind of people that I feel like we both are. Is like, we're the kind of people who does not have excuses, who gets stuff done, and who figures stuff out. It's not always pretty, and it's not always like the most go with the flow kind of way. But either way, stuff happens when I feel like people like us get involved, and so it's been fun.
Yeah. What do you feel? Do you feel like that the assertiveness that you both have? Like, do you ever you feel like that's a good thing, or like do you butt heads, or like?
I mean, I feel like it's a great thing. I think it's interesting now that it's been 2 months and I think we're not really butting heads a lot. It's more just like when it is, it's very intense, but we figure it out.
I was going to say, you probably it makes you figure it out faster instead of just
true.
Yelling at each other and still not solving the issue.
1,000%. We figure it out, and we figure it out pretty dang quick.
Yeah.
So, and we don't stop until we do figure it out, which is nice too. Like, that's the kind of person I am and the kind of person she is too, is like, figure it out, be done with it, and then move on, which is really good. So I think that's kind of rare. A lot of people hold on to stuff and then they bring it up later.
Yep.
Whereas we talk about it, figure it out, and then it's kind of, all right, we figured that out, let's move on. But, it's also been 2 months. So maybe it will come up again and then we'll see, but I don't think so, honestly. Just based on everything that I've experienced with her, I don't think it will.
What? You don't think what will?
Like, it'll continue to, be brought up. of like, oh, well, like this. And then the thing that we already solved and resolved is not going to continue to be used against me or me against her.
Yeah.
Feels like it's resolved. And I believe that conflict, if done the right way, can actually bring you a lot closer. And that's what it feels like it's doing for us, where it's like, dang, every time we fight, I feel closer to her, to where I understand her more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Cool. Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to figure out how to make this flow. You're the professional, but am I doing pretty good?
You're doing good, buddy.
All right, cool. I really just gotta like ask questions and listen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, all I gotta do, buddy. Because this is like changing directions. But like, have you ever had any doubt in your life? Doubt?
Any doubt? I mean, I've had a lot of doubt. I've had a lot of doubt in my life.
Yeah, it's kind of a broad,
Yeah,
nothing specific, I guess. But
yeah, you want the specific one, buddy? I can tell you
yeah.
about my most recent. I mean,
Yeah.
the most recent is going to be around me and my relationships. You know, I had a lot of doubt that when I was in relationships with other women, I would want things or want them to be a certain way. Like, hey, you know, I'd love it if you went to the gym, if you did this, or, you know. And basically, I was letting them know what I was looking for in a relationship instead of me drawing a line and be like, okay, this is not who you are, and so that's okay, but that's not what I'm looking for either. I thought that I was like bringing it up in order to help them know what I'm looking for too, but instead they felt like that was like me trying to change them or set too high expectations. And that was something that they said a lot was, well, your expectations are just too high. Nobody's gonna be that for you, and like, you know, all these other things. I was like, man, that was really hard, you know. And so then I started to have some doubt when I was single, of like when I started like going out and looking for a relationship again. I'm like, man, is there anybody out there that does have this? Maybe they're right. Maybe my expectations were too high. Maybe I can't find a woman who's kind, who likes, you know, to travel, who's fun, who's optimistic, who wants to try new things, but also very disciplined, who is a Christian, who looks at things objectively instead of just like, you know, just taking my side on everything, but help me to see both sides and help me to figure stuff out. Like, maybe that's too much, you know, maybe that's not possible. And I started to doubt that if I lost a couple good women in order to get one that was, you know, worth it, I suppose. And so that was my biggest doubt. Or if I was actually the problem the whole time, like, man, I'm just finding problems in people, even though I got a good people in front of me, which I believe, you know, there's certain people that I dated. I believe all of them were good people, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been with them for as long as I was, because a lot of my relationships I was with for a while. So obviously they were good people. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't everything I was looking for.
yeah.
But then I just started to doubt myself, like, man, maybe I can't be a good partner. Maybe it's not possible for me to be good enough to find a woman like that. Maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was in a relationship. Maybe I'm not as good at communicating. Maybe I'm too aggressive. Maybe I'm not kind enough. Maybe the reason that they don't bring their problems to me or their emotions is because I'm not open enough to hear them. Maybe it's not just their insecurities. It's like it's actually me as the problem. And that was what my doubt was, and I started going in like internally and really questioning that, because I've been like, you know, trying to find a relationship like that for, I mean, a long time. And so yeah, it was just a lot of doubts. So that was my most recent doubts, where I was like, dang, I don't know if I'm gonna find somebody now. And I started to doubt it, and that was when I was just praying to God, and like I was listening to the song by Hillsong. I don't know if you heard that one, I Surrender.
I think so.
Yeah, but I listened to that song a lot, and like that one was like, just broke down crying and was praying to God, and was like, wow, like I just surrender. I'm like, all right, God, I know it's from you, because I've done everything in my power and everything in my will in order to make this happen. I'm like going through traumas. I'm like going to therapy. I'm reading books. I'm practicing empathy statements. I'm doing everything in my power in order to like get past this. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's not working. I'm freaking on dating apps, going on dates, like doing all this stuff that I felt like was there. And then when I just surrendered it to God and like just like literally like, all right, God, if you have somebody for me, I am open. And like I stopped I stopped swiping on people because I was like,
Yeah.
dude, it took so much time too to like sit there and actively, and then like you see somebody, you read their profile, you're like, oh man, like this seems so cool, and you like get excited, and then like they never even freaking swipe back on you. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. And so then it just so happened that Nicole like, you know, swiped on me, and then I was only looking at people that already swiped on me, and those are the only ones that I was even looking at. And so then afterwards, after we started talking, I was like, whoa.
Nice.
It was funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you this story, but there was another girl the same day. Oh, I did tell you.
I think so.
Yeah, the same day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone, and then he's in the room with this girl that I was trying to talk to that wasn't saying a whole lot back to me, and he's like, man, why don't you talk to her and stuff? I was like, I tried. She's not freaking responding back to me much. And he's like, well, she's got to break up and stuff. I'm like, I know, but still, like, I'm trying to reach out to her. She's not talking back and stuff. So anyway, I had a phone call scheduled with Nicole at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I never talked to Nicole on the phone, so I didn't know. I was just, I had a process of which I went about dating apps. So I guess I can go over, see if I can give some people some advice for dating apps on. It was pretty effective, I feel like. But anyway, I was getting on a phone call with her that night. So before I got on the phone call, I didn't know, like it's like that's another hard thing about dating apps is knowing when to pursue, when to cut off, because you're talking to so many people and then it doesn't work out, and then now you got to restart the process if you cut off all your options. So it's such an interesting game. But anyway, I was getting on a call with Nicole that night, and then I'm talking to my friend a couple hours before that. Then he convinces that girl that I was saying, hey, she's not responding back to me and stuff. He convinces her to call me. And, like, she's ready to talk now. She calls me at 10 o'clock at night, and I'm on the phone with Nicole at that point in a 2-hour conversation. And I'm like, this conversation's going really well. And so, yeah, I was like, I texted that girl the next day and was like, hey, look, like, sorry, like I'm having real good conversation now, and I don't like to talk to multiple people at the same time when when I actually think that there's a possibility for it to go somewhere. I don't want to continue to talk to people or keep swiping or anything. Like I'd rather be all in intentional with that person if I think there's a possible future there. And so I basically told her that, and it's interesting.
Funny how that works, huh? Finally.
Yeah, finally, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a couple months of just a bunch of prospects.
Yeah, because, like, you talk to me, and I'm like, okay. You tell me, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is the one. This is the one.
Yep.
Nope. And then finally, you're like, okay, she's the one.
Well, I was like, dude, it's going well. It's going well. And I told Nicole, I'm like, I look at everything as percentage and probability and odds. I kind of look at everything in sales like that, and I think there's a very good percentage. Like, it's like 90% chance it's going to work out, so feels real good.
That's pretty good odds right there.
Maybe 90, maybe 95 now.
95?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going up.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, even
real good thing.
Especially after, like, isn't, like, if, as intense as our fights are, yeah, I think, it's pretty good that it's going up because I like that we can both be very intense and be ourselves because like I'm a pretty intense person. I feel like I'm pretty assertive, especially when I get upset or I get a trigger hit, and she's hit a couple of my triggers already. Like, and when I say trigger, I mean more of like unresolved trauma that I didn't even know was there, and like she's already hit a couple of those buttons, and I'm like, it's my problem that I have to work through, but either way it causes a reaction in me that causes me to be somebody that I'm like not that I'm not wanting to be, Yeah.
And do you like instantly regret that too when you like kind of blow up?
Oh yeah.
Like instantly you're like, dang it, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that.
Not instantly. It takes about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually about 5 minutes after.
You're just like, hey, can we redo this whole thing? Can we restart?
Well, I don't actually say that. I'm more just like
that's what you wish you could say though. Like, hey, let's just like
do
this again.
For me, it's more of like it's harder when I feel like I didn't do something wrong before I blew up. That's what makes it really hard. It was like, okay, I take responsibility for coming at this too aggressively and for blowing up in the situation because that was unnecessary and not needed. But, or not but. And I think that before I blew up, I don't feel like I was in the wrong here. And I take responsibility for this, and the way I handled this was not appropriate, not great. But I also think that, in this situation, I felt like it was unjustified behavior from this part. And so that's where it gets interesting. Is because I blew up, now they have a reason to be upset with me. But before that, it's like, I wouldn't have blown up if you, but yeah, it's like it's an interesting dynamic.
I don't think it's ever easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish you could like tell like how the argument or fight's gonna go like before you start, because that's what sucks sometimes. It's like you don't want to say anything because you don't know if it's gonna go well or if it's gonna like go sideways.
Oh, I don't even think
saying?
about that. No, I don't even think about that. I'm always just like, my goal is to understand the reasoning of why they did it. And then if I think that they're not even understanding the reason of why they did it, I literally work there. Dude, I was sitting there on the couch for 3 hours with her.
Talking?
Yeah, fighting.
Holy crap, dude.
And I had a pen and paper. And I'm writing down everything she's saying. I'm not joking. And then I'm like, okay. And then I'm drawing maps. I'm like, okay, so this, then this, then this, and then now we're circling back over here. But then, and then I flip back. But then you said this here, which contradicts this. So help me understand here. Like, I'm not getting it. And then by the end of it, we finally both understood.
Yeah. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just like trying to think if I did that, I don't think it would go well. It probably would stop right there.
Well,
the conversation and everything.
It depends on how you went about it. I will say I did not go about it the best way. Because I was more of like, all right, you're not making any sense. Let me go write down everything you're saying, because I don't think you hear what you're contradicting yourself like over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, let me just write this down. Okay, so we agree on this. Yes. Okay, we agree on this. But honestly, I think that if you can go about it in a way better way than what I did, and I want to get used to that, is like just have a pen and paper there beforehand and not go about it in such a prove you wrong kind of thing, which is kind of how I went, especially with my tonality. Even though I was wanting to understand, the way that I sounded, the way that my actions was like kind of condescending. And so it was not my intentions, but it definitely, like, I was just pissed in the moment. I was like, oh, this doesn't make any sense. I don't think she can understand that it doesn't make sense, so let me just, like, show her how it doesn't make sense. As opposed to, like, hey, I also did want to understand, and so I think she can see that, too.
You were, like, bulldogging, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Instead of, like, hey, like, oh, why do you feel that way? Oh, well, like, what happened there? But, like, that kind of is what I was doing, actually, like, when I finally calmed down a little bit. I just get really frustrated when stuff doesn't make sense. I get very, very upset. So I do think that it'd be effective to have a pen and paper and then write down what she's saying, because then it shows that you're paying attention to it. And then find things that you agree with. I agree with you here, here, and here. Can you explain what you meant here? Because I don't understand that. And then when she explains it, okay, if you don't understand it still, okay, I don't understand that. So, and then again, then find what you agree with, and then let her know what you disagree with, or where you think, hey, maybe we don't see eye to eye here. But that's what I kind of did, just in a very aggressive way.
Yeah. Well, now you know.
Yep.
Next time.
Yep. I just need to grab the pen and paper right beforehand.
Yeah.
That way it's like not all right, you're not making sense. It's more of, I'm listening.
Yeah.
You know?
3 hours. That's crazy.
Yep. It was good. It was good.
So when did you start having belief in yourself? Because I know some kids, like, growing up, I mean, some kids are really confident, and some kids, like, right away, something triggers them and something happens in their life where they just struggle with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I mean, I hear a lot of different people who struggle with doubt and with, like, confidence. I do feel like I was a naturally confident person, but I'm trying to think of where it came from. I think in my opinion, it had to do with finishing things. My dad always taught me to finish anything I started. That helped me a lot. So I'd finish video games. Like, that was the first thing I did, man. I was a beast at video games, and so I'd finish them. I'd beat them all the way through. And so, like, when I did something, I completed all the way through. Like, I felt good about that.
Yeah.
Same thing kind of happened when I started skateboarding. Skateboarded, dude. It was horrible to try to learn how to ollie. Like, it took me like 4 or 5 months of just riding a skateboard. Not even, if for anybody who doesn't know, an ollie is just jumping in the air with a skateboard.
Mm-hmm.
You know how boring it is to freaking not know how to jump over stuff?
Yep.
Like, dude, it's not fun. Like, it's not that fun to ride your skateboard and not be able to even jump.
Yeah.
Like, it's just boring.
You can't even get up a curb or a sidewalk or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just riding. And it's like,
You gotta pick your board up to go over to the
dude,
ledge.
you feel so dumb too. And so like it's like such an easy looking motion, but to get your body to learn how to do it was a lot of work. And so me putting that effort in every day until I learned it, that gave me a lot of confidence and trust in myself of like, dude, I'll figure something out. I'll do it. And so yeah, I fell a lot, freaking hurt myself a lot, hurt my wrist, hurt my ankles, hurt a lot of stuff a lot of times. But it just showed me persistence of like, dude, I'm not going to freaking quit until I get this stuff. And it's scary. It's hard. I get hurt. But I'm not going to quit. And so that gave me a lot of confidence. Next thing was guitar. You know, that was a long thing that I wasn't naturally good at it. It took me a long time to figure that stuff out. But I knew that if I put enough time, effort in, that I was going to figure it out. And so I had the confidence in my ability to figure things out. And so that's kind of where I think that people have a mistake for the way that they view me or the way that they view other people. Is like they think that other people have it or they don't. I don't look at my abilities of like somebody's got something that I don't have. I look at it as if I put in the work, I'd be able to get anything that anybody has.
Yeah.
So like I know that if I put in the abilities or if I put in my work ethic, my learning capabilities, like all my energy, I would be able to do basically anything that anybody else is doing. And so I don't know. I guess I always kind of built that. I built that up based on proof of what I did. So I never really doubted that I was going to be able to do it. I don't think that a lot of people doubt that they're capable of doing those things. I just think from what I experience from people, they just don't want to put in the efforts and they know what it's going to cost them.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to, is not a disbelief in their ability to be able to do it. It's they don't want to put in the effort and they don't want to put in everything that they know it's going to cost them and the pain that they know they're going to have to go through. And so they're not willing to put that effort in. And so that's what I think it really comes down to, is I know I'm willing to pay the price and other people aren't willing to pay the price. And so then they make the excuse that it's on their abilities, but I don't think they actually believe that. They just know it's going to suck.
Dang. Yeah. That's spot on, I think.
That's what it feels
I
like.
think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when I asked that question, I wasn't expecting that response. And I'm like, dang, yeah. Anybody can pretty much do anything if you put in the work.
Yep.
I do have one more question then. Was it all worth it? The struggles, the relationships, like what you've built, like what you've done in your life to this point, was it all worth it?
That's such a hard question to answer because I feel like I'm in the middle of it. And so that's where it's difficult to say if it was worth it or not. I mean, I don't know. That's so interesting because what did I get? It's like I'm in the process. That's an interesting question that I never really thought about. I mean, it's been fun. I'm like still growing, and so it's so weird to be like, was it worth it? Because I don't feel like I'm at it, but I don't think there is an it either. And so like it did feel like I sacrificed a lot. Like I sacrificed a lot to get to where I'm at, but I still don't feel like I'm where I want to be.
Yeah, I mean, we're still pretty young, but
Yeah.
still. I mean, 30 years is a long time.
It's so interesting though because like I don't know, it's hard for me to say is it worth it for me, because it's like what am I trying to get? Like I'm not trying to get a house, a car, a fancy like anything. For me it's like what am I trying to do? And like I think I had to really define that, and that's where I feel like I'm at in this season. Like define like what am I actually working towards right now? Like what actually does God want me on this earth for? And that's what it feels like I'm like living out my purpose for. And so I feel like it's been worth it in a lot of ways because when I see other people struggle with the same things I struggle with, I can now have one, empathy. Two, I'm not just like there with them, I'm also can help them out of it because I've been through it. And that gives me more fulfillment than anything. Like to know that people have the same thoughts that I've struggled with. And then like have seen the other side of it. I have seen some success in overcoming this stuff or like the doubt or the thoughts or all these different things. And so that's when I get the most fulfillment is helping other people to break through the same things that I had to break through to get to where I'm at. And so yeah, that's so interesting of like I never set a goal of like how many people do I help, how many, you know I don't know. It's like that's a hard thing to define. And so maybe that's why it's so difficult to me to say, was it worth it? Because it's like, well, did I help this many people become financially free? Did I do this certain thing? Like, I never really defined what it is. But for me, when I see somebody struggling and I can actually help them through that because I've been there and I've actually seen the other side, that feels worth it for me to have went through the pain that I went through, if that makes sense. So, like, when I went through the pain of a divorce, like, that was one of the hardest things I ever been through, but it was kind of worth it in the sense that now I can help other people who've gone through similar things and talk about it from the other side and use the lessons that I've learned now to create more intimate relationships and hopefully help other people who are going through that and hopefully stop a divorce from even happening too. So it feels worth it in that sense, but to be like, oh yeah, like everything that I did was worth it to get to this point in my life, I don't know if I would say that because like there's some things that I wish I didn't have to give up in order to get to where I'm at.
Yeah. It almost feels like I mean, you kind of like have to in a sense, right? Give up certain things
Yeah.
to get what you want, to where you want, do what you want. I
Yep.
don't know. It just happens, right? Sometimes.
Seems like that. It seems like that. It's
Yeah.
interesting, but yeah, I think as long as you're very, very intentional about it, and then like knowing the cost, and then making an active decision, I feel like I did not do that. I didn't actively choose to leave my divorce or leave my wife at the time, or to get divorced, in order to get financial freedom. I didn't make that conscious choice. It was something
Yeah.
that I was going over here, and then I lost this, as opposed to looking at your life and realizing that that's a potential or like a cost that could happen if you don't continue to grow that side. And so for me, it wasn't intentional, which makes me feel like maybe it wasn't exactly worth it because it was not a cost that I was expecting to pay, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I paid it regardless, and I don't know if it was exactly worth it in my opinion, in that sense. But the question that I ask now, and I really don't think so, is like, would it have ended anyway? And I kind of think it would have. So that's the interesting part too. Is like if the person didn't like me, then it really doesn't matter what I did, and so maybe I'm taking too much responsibility on some part. Which obviously I take responsibility for what I did. But if the person didn't like me, it wasn't going to work out either way. But at the end of the day, like I definitely could have been more intentional, and I would not have. I do not think that I will ever pursue business over my marriage ever again or my
Yeah.
relationships. And so to say it was worth it is hard because I wouldn't do it like that again. So that's where it's interesting.
Yeah.
But I think also if I didn't go through that stuff, I wouldn't have that perspective and to have had the losses of that pain. Because, dude, whenever you have the pain of something happened relationship wise with your wife, with your parents, with your brothers, your sisters, your freaking your coworkers and stuff, it's like it's way worse than anything else, you know, that happens monetarily wise. But also, if you don't have the money, it's interesting because then you can't even solve those problems very much without having to worry about surviving.
Yeah, dude. That's what I was thinking as you were talking. Like I struggle with like trying or wanting to get super wealthy and like work extremely hard, and then also like I bring myself back because I'm like, maybe I just should live a simple life and like be present with my family, and focus on that. But then I'm like, oh crap, I need to make more money. You know, I need to like get ahead, and then like I just keep cycling between the two and like not being able to ever be present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the question that I
Never.
would always ask is how do you do both, and
Yeah.
then do it intentionally. You know, because I still think it's possible to do both. It's just you have to be more intentional. You have to
Yeah.
be more intentional when you're with them, and you have to be more intentional when you're with work, and maximize every mother freaking minute. And that's what I found is like realistically what it comes down to is me procrastinating a lot in my life. And so like if I just am on it all the time, dude, I can freaking be really high in every
Yeah.
single area, but I have to be on it
You
a
gotta be dialed
lot.
in.
Yep, I got to be dialed in for a long time.
Yeah.
But then I can show up for my family. I can show up for my health. I can show up for God. I can show up for freaking the business. Every area I can show up in, but I have to be on it. And there's no procrastinating. There's no, oh, I'm going to do this tomorrow. No, if I do it tomorrow, now I'm cutting into somebody else's time. I'm cutting into another area of my life. And so that's what I found is I think it is possible. It's just I was freaking being, I guess, more lazy. And then I'm just like, I'm only going to focus on business.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because like if I don't work a weekend that much and I'm just spending time with my family, like I feel good, and then I'm like, crap, I could have like done this and worked on this, and I didn't, so I beat
Yep.
myself up about that.
Yeah, so you just have to be
Or
intentional. Just be like, dude, this is my family time.
yeah,
I don't care if I get any work done because this is blocked out. This is for the family, and turn it off. And then when I get to work, hey, I'm freaking at work right now. I'm gonna max this out, and then when I come home, like we're gonna have this time. And so
yeah,
that's what I found is more helpful too. Is like just really being all in with where you're at.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's not just me, but
It's
like
not.
it feels like it sometimes. No, I guess it doesn't really. Like I know there's people that struggle with it, but like even when I was working on the truck yesterday for like 5 hours, I'm like, dang, I'm doing this. My kids are over here having fun, and I can't even watch them because I'm doing this. And then I fix it, but it doesn't fix the problem. So like I'm beating myself up that I lost all that time. I could have been making money. I could have been spending time with them, but all of that was a waste. But it wasn't a waste, but it felt like it was. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, so that's a great point for people and the way to buy back your time. So the question is if you calculate your dollar per hour and let's just say your dollar per hour is $30 an hour, can you pay somebody $30 an hour to do that? Well, then you might as well just do it and then work an extra 5 hours because now it's doing something that in your line of work and you're making $30 an hour, but it could end up paying off more if you just continue to do more of it, get better at it, get more efficient, find a way to work commission. Then you can make more money at it. So at that point, pay somebody else the same hourly rate because you just work 5 more hours that hopefully will get you more. Or for some people, if you make $30, $40, $50, $60 an hour, then anything less than that, it makes sense. And so then you can spend your time with your family. So anybody that's willing to do it for less, I'd rather just pay them, which is a hard thing for people to realize, like, well, I don't have the money. That's how you get the money, though, is you hire it out for lower than what you can get it done for, and then bam, that's how you get the money. But most people don't think like that. They just think, I don't have the money, so I can't do that.
Yep. That's kind of how I was thinking because I'm in a season right now financially, and I'm like, dang, I have to do it myself because I can't afford it.
Yep.
So I'm like,
And then it ends up costing you more.
yeah,
That's
more
the funniest
time
part.
and money.
Yeah, it costs you more time, more money because you're not an expert. You're trying to do it yourself. You're trying to learn, and you're not that good at it. And so now you're spending so much more time and energy that now it just depleted your energy from you being able to do your job better. And so now you can't do your job as well because you're so stressed out from the other thing that you try to solve. And so that's what I realized too is like, just pay the people who like to do it, who are good at it, and then do what you're good at and freaking make more money.
Yeah, 100%. Because like after that, I was like exhausted.
Yep.
Laying under the truck and my head's hitting the concrete. Stuff's falling in my eyes. I'm like, dude, this is so stupid right now. Like,
and there's guys that love it, dude. There's
Yeah.
guys that freaking eat that stuff up. They're like, they just love. And I'm like, I'm the same way. I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. I hope that I did this right.
Yeah.
Did I even do it right? I don't freaking know. And I watched the video 17 million times, and I'm
Yep.
like, I'll figure it out. But dude, it's brutal.
Yep, that's how I felt.
Yep.
Well, dang, buddy, that's all I got today.
All right. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Yep. Thanks for watching.
See you guys. Thanks for staying all the way to the end. Appreciate you. Love you. Bye.
Peace. 47 minutes. It's warm in here, dude.
Mm-hmm.